Yeah, it was an alarm, and I believe it to be a valid alarm because I get a lot of valid alarms. It's just the problem is that the police have been over here more than a couple times, and they won't look, and so I don't see any big reason to call them, and that's kind of where we're at. So I just acknowledge the alarm, and then I document it, and then we just put it back in service.
I'm sorry, sir, for the trouble. So you don't want a police dispatch?
No, like I said, they've been here more than once, and they won't look. I have that recorded on audio, and so if they're not going to look, it doesn't matter for them to come over. I just document it.
That video clip you just watched of me talking to the operator with the Vivint security alarm company was on Christmas Day 2012. That was the year that I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms called my attic, and so this is the rest of the story. This is from a Facebook post. I posted that earlier, and it's a real short read, and I would explain it and show you some of the evidence that backs up that story. And so I think you're going to find this truly interesting right here. By January 2011, which is before the murder attempt, I was absolutely sure that somebody was coming into my home and getting into my attic, for which I had called the police several times about. This was a year before I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. After surviving the murder attempt, I installed a Samsung camera system in the attic, but even though I could hear people in my home and find evidence of them being here, I couldn't catch them on the camera. It took several years to prove they were hacking the cameras. I later made a video showing proof of this and provided that to law enforcement. In 2012, a Vivint salesperson came to my home and I agreed to purchase this expensive home security system as long as they installed it in my attic. But the new Vivint system would sit there in silence while other motion detectors and alarm systems would be going off. I kept calling Vivint and complaining about their system being compromised too. Vivint sent their techs here who said they found a programming error. And on December 9, 2012, it recognized that somebody was in my attic, went into alarm, and dispatched the police here. One of the police dispatched that day was Michael Chandler, the husband of secret police April Chandler. She was one of the main secret police. She was standing next to Rosie when Rosie was planting my stolen phone behind my nightstand. And Chandler's the one that said she found my voice recorder and it was checked into evidence, but that was a lie because it didn't get checked into a couple years later when I made a point of the police stealing evidence I told them about, in a capital attempted murder. Anyways, interestingly, the police report for this call was one of the reports illegally withheld when all police reports were subpoenaed before the protective order here in 2013. The other withheld report was from the night of the murder attempt, January 28, 2012. That incriminating police report told us that police were under my home on the night that I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. It looks like police tried to murder me on my home on that night, and that would explain the cover-up and the tampering with the evidence, the lying and destroying my life, and I think they're working with the people with the underground homes and the sex trafficking and the burglaries and all the crimes. I mean, that's really what's going on. I believe the reason they withheld this police report was because it showed they had changed that alarm call to a warrant call, and that was the Vivint call. Okay, and then they were going to arrest me, the crime victim. Okay, it's now known that police were working with the burglars breaking into my home and the many other homes that are rigged like it. For some reason, they changed it back to an alarm call and came to my home. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But then they refused to go up in the attic and look. Keep in mind that I didn't even call the police. Vivint called the police to my home at that time. Okay, and they were going to arrest me. 10 days later, on December 19, 2012, my Vivint security system in my attic dispatched the police to my attic a second time. This time, they dispatched Officers Steve Bracken and Chad Simpson. In 2018, okay, Empire Private Investigations identified Chad Simpson as one of the secret police in my home a few hours after the murder attempt, when his name wasn't found on the police report for that night. He was the one wearing the Midland K9 police officer. He was no longer alive then in 2018 because on December 15, 2014, he murdered his young wife and killed himself, supposedly. 2 secret police are now dead, and they both died within 2 months of each other. Deputy Naylor was the other dead secret police, who was the second person that showed up. And as I was showing these officers my security system, one of them said, "Yeah, buddy, but I'm the low guy on the totem pole." And I knew what he was saying. It was clear that he knew what was going on, or knew about these crimes and murders and burglaries and the organized crime and sex trafficking and all that, right? But he wasn't allowed to do anything about it because of his supervisors. And I sincerely believe that this is a top-down problem. It's a supervisor problem. And then the good police officers underneath them, that report up to their supervisor, they're told to sit down and shut up, and or they're going to get demoted, fired, etc. And I think that that's a big part of the problem right here is the management. Because 11 secret police right off the bat, police under my home, and somebody under my home shoots me, and I'm living under the threat of death. What's going on here is absolutely lawless. 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic since I was ambushed and shot. Anyway, I feel sorry for the good police who have to look the other way while homeowners are being murdered inside our homes after reporting crimes to police who are working with the criminals breaking into our homes. And remember, it looks like somebody murdered the guy that lived here before me. He died the week before the 2008 oil show started, and it looks like in the backyards an underground home they were using for oil show parties, right? And then a little girl, is believed to have been murdered at a 2010 oil show party. Okay. Bracken writes on this report, he thinks there are people in the walls. At that time, I wasn't suspecting that these criminals were coming up a wall, but now I'm sure of it, and I feel sure this police officer knew that too. I believe it was an inside joke, as who would suspect that police would be helping criminals break into homes to steal and kill, right? And I'm being facetious right there, because that's what's going on. This video and call with Vivint was made on December 25th, 2012, when the Vivint security system in my attic once again recognized that a burglar was in my home. But I told them not to dispatch the police because they won't look. Crimes are committed here every single day, and you don't even get a break at Christmas time. Okay. I then got 2 letters from the city advising me that if the police were dispatched by Vivint again for what they called false alarms, then they were going to find me. I'm going to show you them letters too. Of course, these were not false alarms, but it forced me to disable this expensive third-party security system. No amount of evidence has ever been enough because these police are working with the criminals breaking into our homes. If you try to stop them, you may end up dead or crippled for life with your name smeared, which is what happened to me. There's a security light on in my attic right now, which just came on, and I heard somebody here earlier. This is blatant lawlessness. Some people call this Biden's America, but these crimes were going on while Trump was president. We have a huge corruption problem. I think Biden was vice president when I was ambushed and shot, but I really believe that, since these underground homes were put in by the Bushes, that these crimes have been going on a long time, even before they murdered the guy that lived here before me. A next door neighbor told me one time, last 4 people lived in your house didn't live there long, and the last one's dead, and I crawl down on my hands and knees or I would be dead. They're killing one homeowner after another, and as I said, it looks like it's police that's doing it. Okay, and here I'm going to show you the police reports and the evidence, and then we'll close this out. This is the police report from the first time that Vivint dispatched the police to my attic. And was a report which was illegally withheld after being subpoenaed. Obviously, they tried to hide the fact they changed this alarm call to a warrant call and then back. I suspect that certain police were wanting to arrest me because they didn't get to steal my home after failing to murder me on December 28, 2012. Right? And it looked like there's a burglar that was in the bathroom, etc. Okay, this is a little hard to read. I was hoping it would be a little bit clearer than that, but I'll just zoom in here. Okay, it just shows you the date. The date's December 9, 2012. Okay, and And there's when the call came in. Alarm is in the attic. Homeowners there. Thinks someone is in the attic. Okay. And I'm going to show you right here on this where it says change. Okay. They changed type alarm to warrant. Okay. So they changed it to a warrant, and they were going to arrest me. What happened? And then they changed it back from a warrant to alarm, and then wrote that that was an accident. Right. And one of the officers was Michael Chandler, the husband of secret police and dirty cop April Chandler. She's one of the dirty of the dirty. She's one of the main secret police. This report was one of the ones. It was all reports were subpoenaed before the protective order hearing December 2013, and this was one of the ones that they just didn't provide us. It was illegally. I mean, they were ordered to by a judge, signed by a judge, a subpoena ordering to give us this report and the one from the night of the murder attempt, and they didn't. And and of course that affects that court case. They're making a mockery of the justice system is what they're doing. It's just outright lawlessness is what's going on. And I mean, it is. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody gets slapped on the hand. They've probably done it 10,000 times, broke the law like that. You or me would go to prison. This is the police report from the second time that Vivint dispatched the police to my home, and when secret police Chad Simpson was dispatched here. Okay, he's the one that murdered his wife and killed himself in 2014. There's a date on 10 days later on December 19th. He's afraid somebody's in the attic. Okay, and here's some names. That looks like a Kevin Bullard, but there's Chad Simpson. See that? And Steve Bracken. And then Bracken writes down there on the bottom, he thinks people on the walls. And I looked at that later, now all these years later, because that's 2012. And what I believe is going on, I'm sure of it, is they're tunneling under a home. They're coming up a modified wall that has enough crawl space to allow a person to get up there, and that allows them to come and go from the home all they want without being seen. Okay, so basically at that point they've got free room and board for life, and I think that's connected to human trafficking. It's worth a lot of money. These are very profitable crimes or felonies that this crime ring is committing. And I think, if you're a human trafficker, you got to pay to store your product somewhere, and your product is humans, right? People. But if you rig people's homes where you can get into them and out of them without being seen, and then you have corrupt police helping you, tampering with evidence, lying, killing the homeowner, whatever, so you can allow these very profitable crimes, then you can see how much money they're making with this, So anyway, I just want to show you that. And Chad Simpson, of course, is no longer alive. He murdered his wife and killed himself. This is a combination of the letters that I got from the city of Midland threatening me with fines if Vivint dispatches police to my attic again. They claim there were false alarms when the truth is they refused to go up in my attic and look both times. Neither time. And I offered. I mean, I got a ladder sitting there in the closet where they can go up there and look, But it's just showing you the city of Midland here. And I combined, there was two different letters, and I just combined this one line and made it into one letter because they were the same, and it was easier to display on the computer right there, but I was going to be fined if there's any more false alarms. Okay, and you see that, and actually this come in handy because I knew what the police report number was, but I didn't get the police report when it was subpoenaed. The judge signed off in the subpoena for the protective order hearing, and one of them was missing, the one where they changed it to a warrant, where they were planning on arresting me. Okay. This next comment, it says, I've identified almost 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic since I was ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. As I stated, no amount of evidence is ever enough evidence, as it's clear these police are working with the criminals breaking into homes and killing one homeowner after another. It's truly lawlessness. Yesterday I got a message on a guy on YouTube, and he was a retired law enforcement officer. He was telling me about some stuff for some fingerprint stuff and all that. You can do this, you do that. And I was explaining to him, it's not evidence. I've got so much evidence and so much proof. It's just outright lawlessness. Evidence doesn't mean nothing. Putting a Vivint alarm system, that, and Vivint dispatching the police, that don't mean nothing. 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic, that don't mean nothing. Proof that I wasn't shot with my gun doesn't mean nothing. A guy running for sheriff saying that our last sheriff used to hang out in underground homes here doesn't mean anything, right? No amount of evidence means anything. anything, because they're involved in these crimes against innocent citizens where literally one homeowner after another is being murdered. That's what's going on. So anyway, here are the victims' names, and so I just went through my emails and my computer, and I logged in here, kind of get what year it was, the address if I have it. I don't always get the address. Sometimes it's like the Grande tech that come over to my house and says, yeah, home 3 blocks over here. I was in the attic, and there was feces up there, and I told the homeowner that it was human feces. Somebody's living up there in that attic. Well, this guy tells me this story. I have a recording of him telling me this story, but I didn't get the address, and that's why some of these don't have an address, okay? And so then here's city, state, and that's what I'll show you here. You got about a dozen in Midland, okay? We got another dozen Odessa, and that makes sense because I'm here in Midland, Odessa. That's where my scanner picks up too, and a lot of these calls are directly from the police scanner. But there's also, look at these other towns: Andrews, Texas; Austin, Bellmead, Texas; Carlsbad, New Mexico; Hobbs, New Mexico; Los Lunas, and down here unknown on the bottom. And some of them I know I'm missing because there's one there I got a video of, Alabama. That woman repeatedly called the police to her home in Alabama. She gets up there in her attic, makes a video and sends it to me, showing me a man-sized crawl space going down her bedroom wall. And I posted a recent video showing that. And I want to sort of show you that evidence doesn't matter. It don't matter if it was 50, if it was 500, if it was 5,000, if they're murdering you and your family in your home. Evidence doesn't mean anything anymore. The truth, the facts don't mean anything when the police are not following the law and are not enforcing the law. That actually, I look at it, and these corrupt police, I think they look at me like the enemy. Oh, he's the enemy. And here I'm the guy that was reporting crimes to them, trying to make this, our community a safer space, and come to find out they're the criminals I was reporting. They were working with the burglars breaking in my home. Okay, that's the whole irony of it right there. This next comment, this is proof video that I made showing these criminals are hacking security systems and then using that for burglary, theft, and murders. This was provided to Homeland Security, the FBI, the Texas Rangers, and Sheriff Kreiner, but the crimes never stop. And this is the video. Why hasn't anybody gotten camera? And I can't tell you how many times I've been thought, how come you ain't got anybody on camera? And they're hacking the cameras, and I think about 90% of the time it's some criminal that's raping and murdering little kids underground, and then they just think that's funny as can be. We hacked the camera. That's how we're murdering innocent people in their homes. And even though you have proof that they're hacking, it still doesn't matter, because once again, evidence doesn't matter. Okay, truth doesn't matter, proof doesn't matter, because we have police corruption. Okay, and then my last one here is a motion activated security light is on my attic right now. You can bet this is an armed and dangerous criminal who has the secret police ready to assist in killing me if I try to stop them from stealing. Okay, somehow we must find some police that are not corrupt. Okay, this was 3 hours ago when I posted this, and I'll just show you this here. Okay, it's a real short.
Vivint alarm system, or Vivint alarm system in my attic, and in that, I think I mentioned that even right now there is a light on in my attic, a motion detector security light. I'm going to show you that right now. It just come on earlier. It wasn't on.
There it is by my TV.
I heard people here. This is daily occurrence. There's people in this house. Well, how can they get up there to heat? Well, they're still in my heating and cooling and electricity. They're still in services. That's another felony besides burglary or habitation. It is felony after felony, crime after crime, murder after murder. That's what's going on.
Okay, and so that, like I said, that was 3 hours ago. But I had mentioned it in the story I wrote, so I made a video that showed that, hey, look here. But I want to show you right now, it's not on. See, that light's not on. But whether somebody's here right now, it's unknown. If they make a noise, I can tell you they are, but they will be here. If they're not here, they will be, because this is nonstop crime. I believe they're here to protect the underground home in the backyard that was put in by the Bushes, used for the oil show parties, where that little girl was murdered at the 2010 oil show party. Because, if I tried to expose that, if I tried to stop them, like when I trapped that burglar in that guest bathroom, I I didn't know it, they've tried to murder me, you know, and that's what'll happen if I try to stop the crimes. And so then my only other option is try to get police to do their job, and I can't find any police that are not corrupt. I'm a lifelong supporter of police. Anybody knows a police officer that is not corrupt, then please, you know, let them know. But as I mentioned earlier, it's just like the guy here, and that was probably Chad Simpson, says, buddy, I'm the low guy on the totem pole. So, you know, even these police officers that want to do the right thing, I don't think they're being allowed to. I think they know, no, there's a lot of money to be made letting people break into homes, you know, and sex trafficking makes a lot of money, a lot of kickback money, you know, and a lot of bribe money, you know, and then also oil companies are suspected to be involved in oil show parties, and you know, and I'm sure they don't want the public to find out about the little girl murdered, you know, because she didn't want a prostitute. So they might be writing big old checks to our local law enforcement. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.